Hello, and welcome back to Subnarrator. Today's story is the ultimate, brutal test of character. What happens when you realize the person you love would rather prioritize a lunch reservation than your life? This is the story of Daniel, who used a crisis to expose a terrible truth, and then had to fight a ruthless, calculated battle against his ex's desperate web of lies. My name is Daniel. I'm still processing the sheer magnitude of what happened because I genuinely cannot believe someone I loved, someone I planned a future with, could be this callous. Laura and I were together for 2 years. We split bills, shared a home, the whole domestic architecture of a committed life. I thought we were solid. I'm a project manager. She works in marketing. We had our challenges, but nothing prepared me for the devastating, final red flag that appeared 3 weeks ago. I was driving home from a job site outside the city when some reckless driver in a lifted pickup decided my lane looked better than his. No signal, just a violent swerve right into me doing about 70 miles an hour. The car took a devastating metallic hit on the driver's side, and the impact sent me spinning across 2 lanes before I managed to wrench the steering wheel back and pull over onto the shoulder. The immediate aftermath was terrifying. There was the ringing silence, the overwhelming smell of burning rubber and deployed airbags, the terrible crunch of broken safety glass. Nothing was broken, but the searing pain in my left shoulder was instant. I had glass cuts across my face and hands, and the metallic taste of blood where I'd bitten my tongue was overwhelming. My car was instantly totaled, a twisted ruin. The responding officer, Officer Miller, who, believe it or not, was a contact from my past, having gone to school with my brother, was a massive help. He ensured I got checked out by the EMTs, and he took control of the chaotic scene. I was shaken, bruised, and 90 miles from home. Miller made it clear. I was in no condition to travel, and I needed someone to come get me. I called Laura. No answer. I texted her, my fingers shaking as I typed. Hey babe, been in an accident on I-75. I'm okay, but car is totaled, and I need you to come pick me up. Can you come get me? I waited 20 agonizing minutes. The EMT finished cleaning the glass, shards from my face. Then, the reply came. OMG, are you okay? I'm at lunch with Jacob right now. Can you just call an Uber or something? We haven't seen each other in forever and already ordered. Let me know when you get home safe. I stared at that message for a full 5 minutes. Miller was waiting patiently for an answer. The EMT was urging me to go to the hospital. My face was still actively weeping blood from the small cuts. And my committed partner of 2 years was telling me she couldn't interrupt a casual lunch with a guy friend because they had already ordered the food. I showed Miller the text. His professional detachment fractured. He read it, and his expression changed to one of disbelief. Seriously, he asked. I just nodded, incapable of forming words. In that moment, the anger was absent. I was just cold. I realized I was seeing Laura's fundamental priorities with chilling clarity. If she wanted to prioritize Jacob and her meal, she would know exactly what she was choosing over. Officer Miller, I said, my voice flat. In situations like this, do you ever need to notify family members officially? He immediately understood. Technically, yes. We sometimes need to make official notification to next of kin, especially when injuries are involved. And yes, if the situation warrants, that means delivering the notification in person to ensure important information gets delivered properly. I gave him Laura's number and the name of the upscale restaurant she was at, Meridian Bistro. I told him I was making her my official emergency contact and needed her officially notified about the accident. He gave me a slow, knowing smile. The plan was set. The EMT drove me to a quiet coffee shop near the scene to wait. I spent the time cleaning my cuts, filling out paperwork, and thinking about 2 years of commitment through a completely new, harsh lens. About an hour and 15 minutes later, Miller came back, looking utterly satisfied. Notification has been made, he said. Your girlfriend should be here soon. Laura showed up 45 minutes after that. She was visibly distraught, her face blotchy, her makeup smeared. She looked like she'd fled the restaurant. She ran up to me, immediately launching into frantic apologies. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how serious it was, but I saw the panic in her eyes. It wasn't about my well-being. It was about the public humiliation that had just been inflicted upon her. Miller, who I met up with later to hear the full account, had executed the notification perfectly. He walked into the upscale Meridian Bistro in full uniform. He announced his business, and the entire restaurant went silent. He walked right up to Laura and Jacob's table, the prime real estate, middle-of-the-room spot, and delivered the news in his official cop voice. Laura's first panic question, after confirming I was okay, was not about my condition, but, "Wait, why are you here? How did you find me?" Miller professionally explained that I had listed her as my emergency contact and requested official notification since she was unavailable by phone. Laura's subsequent attempts to justify her presence there, explaining the lunch, claiming she didn't think it was serious, simply announced to the entire audience that her injured boyfriend had called for help, and she decided her social engagement was a higher priority. Jacob, Miller reported, was genuinely shocked. He immediately started putting money on the table, asking for my condition, and urging Laura to leave. The ultimate kicker. One of the other diners recognized Laura from work, and Miller overheard them gossiping about how she had abandoned her injured boyfriend. The damage to her professional and social standing was instant and severe. On the silent drive home, she kept trying to explain herself, but her excuses only emphasized the depth of her moral lapse. I didn't think it was that serious. Jacob's been going through a rough time. I told her I was going to my brother's place for a few days. I need space to think. I kept it simple. I didn't trust her anymore. I was staying at my brother's, ignoring her constant, panicked texts. A few days later, I finally went back to the apartment to collect my things. Laura was waiting with a clearly rehearsed speech about mistakes and counseling. "I think you're being unfair by judging our entire relationship based on one bad moment," she finally argued. A good friend of Jacob. I countered. "What about being a good girlfriend to me then?" I told her I was done. She cried. She bargained. "What if I delete Jacob's number?" And then she landed on anger. "You're throwing away 2 years over nothing. You got your little revenge with a cop stunt, and now you're being dramatic. My accident was nothing to her." "I didn't set you up, Laura," I said, loading my tools. "I just made sure you got the message that your boyfriend was in an accident and needed help. The humiliation was all your own doing. The practical stuff was easy. I found a month-to-month sublet across town. While packing the last box, my neighbor, Mrs. Lawrence, a sweet woman who knew everyone's business, helped me. She told me Laura had been hosting people for support, and that Jacob had come by twice. The final, devastating statement came from Laura. "Daniel, I know I made a mistake, but Jacob's been going through a rough time lately. He really needed that lunch. I knew you'd be okay. You're strong. You can handle things. Jacob's more fragile right now." There it was, the ultimate confirmation. My emergency was minimized because of her assumption of my strength, while her friend's emotional needs trumped my physical safety. I told her we were done talking, and I drove away. I thought she would move on. I was wrong. I went no contact. Yesterday, she showed up at my new, secret apartment with flowers and food. When I didn't answer, she played what she clearly thought was her ultimate ace card. "Daniel, I'm pregnant." I nearly opened the door in shock, but paused. I texted my brother, who rushed over to quietly record her entire 40-minute, increasingly frantic plea, including the dramatic, emotional pregnancy claim. The next morning, the lie went public. A friend from her company texted me, "Dude, Laura's telling people at work she's pregnant with your baby and you abandoned her after a fight." She was desperately crafting a narrative where she was the victim and I was the deadbeat. I immediately contacted Officer Miller, who advised me, "Daniel, this is harassment now. The best way to handle lies is with truth." I sent a group text to about 8 mutual friends. "Heads up that Laura and I broke up 2 weeks ago after she chose not to help me when I was injured in a car accident. She's now claiming to be pregnant and telling people I abandoned her. Just wanted you to hear the real story from me." I attached the documentation. Laura's story began collapsing instantly. The final, strange piece of the puzzle. Jacob texted me out of the blue, apologizing for the accident situation and confirming, "I know for a fact that's not true." I didn't ask for details about how he knew for a fact. I didn't need to. I changed my number today, blocked her on everything, and told my work security about the situation. I dodged a massive, life-altering bullet. This is where the story ends. not with a whimper, but with absolute clarity. Laura learned that her actions had immediate, public, and lasting consequences, and I learned that crisis is the quickest, most painful way to reveal someone's true moral priorities. Officer Miller told me the lucky ones find this out before they get married or have kids. He's right. I'm moving on now. I have a good job, good friends, and the undeniable peace of knowing I will never have to wonder if the person I love will actually show up when I need them most. If this story resonated with you, and if you believe Daniel made the right move by prioritizing self-respect over courtesy, hit that like button and subscribe to Subnarrator. Tell us in the comments, what was the single most shocking lie Laura told?